I think we are facing the biggest refugee and displacement crisis of our time. Above all, this is not just a crisis of number, how many people we have to deal, and this is a crisis of solidarity. This is a matter of compassionate leadership for humanity. Your Majesty, we must recognize that today's internal displacement and refugee crisis are signs of deeper challenges. Too many countries and even whole regions are trapped in a cycle of conflict, violence, and poverty.
General, without further ado, let's hear our second keynote from the President of the European Commission.
Today, Europe faces its greatest refugee crisis since the Second World War. This crisis is testing our values, and it is testing our will. And it is reminding us that solidarity is not only a moral virtue, but an essential part of our European Union.
Thank you, Mr. President, for our first perspective there from the European Union. We're going to hear more.
You know, our mission is to end extreme poverty by 2030 and boost shared prosperity. But with the largest flow of refugees, as we've heard, since World War II, largely because of the Syrian conflict, but also because of other conflicts, ongoing conflicts in the Middle East, Africa, and South Asia, we are now understanding in a way that we never have before that we have to change.
This is very much a global event with a global perspective.
We know that eventually the refugee situation will abate in Europe. But we are absolutely committed to never forgetting the lessons we've learned in the last year. We will always work in fragile and conflict-affected states. We will always address the situation of refugees, and we will always work with our partners in the UN and elsewhere to make sure that these people, even after the attention abates, will not be forgotten.
Over the past 5 years alone, 4.8 million Syrian refugees have been streaming into Lebanon, Turkey, and Jordan, among others. 1.3 million to Jordan alone. This means every 7th person in my country is a Syrian refugee. To put that in context, if the United States received an equivalent influx, it would mean accommodating 50 million refugees. Think about that. 50 million. That's almost 2.5 more Floridas, 5 Ohios, 10 South Carolinas. And I make these metropolitan comparisons deliberately because our refugees are not confined to camps. More than 90% are living in Jordan's cities, towns, and villages. A demographic shock that is exhausting our social and physical infrastructure to its absolute limit.
Thank you so much, Your Majesty.